3 bodies were found bound together on the living room floor of cabin 28. Electrical cords and medical tape held the victims in place, while clear signs of a violent struggle marked the small wooden interior of the cabin. Furniture had been displaced, blood was present at the scene, and investigators quickly realized that a brutal massacre had unfolded there during the night. The victims were Sue Sharp, 36 years old, her son John Sharp, 15 years old, and John's friend Dana Wingate, 17 years old. Examination of the scene revealed that all 3 had suffered severe blunt force trauma from a violent beating. Investigators also determined that the victims had been stabbed, and Dana Wingate additionally showed signs of strangulation. Inside the cabin, investigators recovered a blood-stained hammer and 2 knives believed to have been used in the attack. The victims had been bound with electrical cords taken from inside the cabin, and medical tape had been placed over Sue Sharp's mouth, suggesting the attackers had restrained the victims during the assault. The crime took place during the night of April 11, 1981, inside cabin 28 at the Keddie Resort in Keddie, California, United States, a quiet mountain community surrounded by dense forests. But as investigators examined the scene more closely, they realized something even more disturbing. One person was missing. Tina Sharp, 12 years old, Sue's daughter, was nowhere inside the cabin. Another detail made the case even more unsettling. 3 children had been inside the house during the attack and survived the night. Rick Sharp, 10 years old, Greg Sharp, 5 years old, and a family friend, Justin Smart, 12 years old, had been sleeping in a separate bedroom. Despite the violence that unfolded in the living room, the attackers never entered the room where the children were sleeping. Investigators also documented shoe impressions around the cabin, along with clear signs of an intense struggle in the living room. Among the objects found at the scene was a military-style jacket believed to be connected to one of the attackers. The disappearance of Tina Sharp quickly became the central focus of the investigation. For 3 years, no trace of her was found. Then, in 1984, human remains were discovered near Feather Falls, approximately 80 kilometers from the cabin. The remains were later identified as Tina Sharp. Investigators also recovered pieces of medical tape near the remains, similar to the tape used inside cabin 28. Over time, 2 men emerged as primary suspects. Martin Smart, 41 years old, who lived in another cabin at the resort, and his associate John Bo Boubede, approximately 44 years old. Reports indicated that both men had been drinking heavily on the night of the murders. Years later, investigators also discovered a letter written by Martin Smart to his wife, Marilyn Smart, which raised serious suspicion. In one passage, Smart wrote, "I've paid the price for your love, and now I've bought it with 4 people's lives." Another line reportedly suggested that he was tired of living with the things that had been done. Despite the disturbing implications of the letter, no formal confession was ever recorded. More than 4 decades later, the massacre inside cabin 28 in Keddie, California, remains officially unsolved. A crime that left 3 people dead, 1 child taken from the cabin, and a mystery investigators were never able to fully resolve.